expected to last several weeks.
A Bloomfield Township man is now facing charges after his wife's body was found in their home. 53-year-old Dirk Grunwald was arraigned today on one count of failing to report and concealing a death. His 57-year-old wife, Ariana, was found dead inside their house near Walnut Lake Road and Franklin last Saturday. Investigators think her body had been there for some time. They're now awaiting an autopsy to determine how she died.
Also new tonight, a woman missing from Grosse Pointe Farms is back home and recovering, and that's thanks to the help of a stranger.
Police and family members have been looking all morning long for her. Fox News' Ingrid Kelly spoke with a woman who doesn't consider herself a hero, but Ingrid, I think we all disagree with her. She is. She helped find someone. This is great news.
Exactly. You know, that reunion actually took place outside of this restaurant, and the story has a happy ending because someone saw something that was wrong and they did something about it.
Saw her at my left side. She looked lost. Her face, her assembling of her face was very, very scared.
It was around 6:30 Wednesday morning, and Norma Romero had not seen any reports about missing Janet Michaels from Grosse Pointe Farms, so she kept going. But something about the condition of the woman she saw near Wyoming and Michigan in Detroit made her feel uneasy.
Because that feeling stayed with me when I left, and I left her.
But a few hours later, Romero would see the woman again, this time wearing a pink jacket. So she approached her.
Then, are you okay? And she was kind of bleeding on one of her knees, but she was very cold.
An active search was underway for Michaels, who was reported missing by her family Tuesday.
Fortunately, we have witnesses who pretty consistently called in and reported possible sightings.
But when police arrived to those locations, Janet, who suffers from early onset dementia, was nowhere to be found. But Romero did her best to get information from Michaels.
When she gave me the address, I was in shock because she said Grosse Pointe. When she said Grosse Pointe, I was like, you're walking, this is 7 hours, I told her, from right now where we at to, are you sure?
Romero was also able to get a phone number.
Oh, finally got in contact with her husband, and yep, that was her husband. Yeah.
Moments later, Michael's family members arrived outside this restaurant at Dixon Stair to pick up their loved one.
It was a family right there. You could tell there was love.
And after getting Michaels back home to her family, Romero says she still doesn't feel like a hero.
Well, no, I think it's more like I said, it's vessels were used at this precise moment, at the precise time.
That's exactly right. And you know, Romero, she saw that Miss Michaels was hungry, so she asked her, you know, can I get you anything? Well, Miss Michaels wanted lobster, so hopefully she's getting that lobster dinner right now. You know, this restaurant wasn't even open at the time. But you know what? I really had a great conversation with police, and you know, we were talking about if you live with someone who has a medical condition and they're at risk for leaving home unannounced, an AirTag works, and you can actually get a necklace to contain that AirTag, put it around the person's neck, and hopefully if they get lost or something like that, that AirTag can help find them. Back to you guys in the studio.
Oh, that's good advice right there. Also, we know because they have the Find Your Device, your Find Your Phone app on a lot of these devices, but you don't always have your phone with you. And so it was good that that woman was there, very much a hero, and hopefully she did get her lobster now. So that works. Thanks, Ingrid.
Exactly.
Also new this hour, Detroit Sinai-Grace Hospital hit with a new lawsuit after one of its nurses was charged with assaulting patients.
That same nurse is also facing charges in an alleged sexual assault that happened inside a porta-john. And the scary part is there may be more victims. Let's get live to Fox News' Scott Wolchak. He has the latest details tonight. Scott.
Hey, Rup, yeah, you know, this is a very disturbing case. The guy who has been charged with some of these crimes, his name is Wilfredo Figueroa Barrios, right? Now, he was a nurse over at Sinai-Grace Hospital in Detroit. Now, basically, what's in this lawsuit? Well, they are going over the incidents that happened to, well, allegedly happened to a woman on August 18th and August 19th. Basically, this woman in the complaint, she struggles with alcoholism. She was found basically inebriated. She was checked into the hospital, and that is where she met Barrios. So while she was being treated, she alleges that she was assaulted assaulted at least 4 different times by this man while she was in a basically incapacitated state. So that's a very troublesome thing to hear. We also know that he also has other charges based off of an incident where he allegedly assaulted somebody in a porta-john out at Grand Circus Park in Detroit. All of this really coming out, the lawsuit basically pointing out that the hospital should have known this guy had some problems. And he was also accused of assaulting people at another facility he worked at back in Livonia. And not only that, his social media had a bunch of red flags, according to the lawyer. Take a listen.
If you just go back and look at this man's history and what, not from anyone's mouth, but from his own words on his social media page about the perversion he types about examining breasts for cancer patients or cancer, victims. It's disgusting. It's vile. When she's going for discharge, you'll see her colleagues of the male nurse of the defendant who work as agents of the hospital say things like, "You're just trying to set him up," or "If you were my wife, I would kick you to the curb." Right? Things of that sort. Dismissing this woman, this lady, right, of the acts for which she just had to endure.
If true, very disturbing. Now, right now, you're looking at a statement from Sinai-Grace Hospital. In summary, they are saying that the second that they found out about this, they took action. They take their patients' health and safety extremely seriously. And we do know that the hospital, once they found out about it, they did file a police report and they terminated this guy. So what's going to happen next? Well, some of those cases in Livonia are with the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office right now, and we're going to keep you updated on the very latest. Of course, if you have had any type of contact or have any type of history with this guy, I'm sure police would want to know. Once again, these are all allegations, but some very, very serious stuff. For now, reporting live in Detroit, Scott Walchuk, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. The federal government is shut down. The Senate failing to get enough votes to pass that budget. Republicans control the House and Senate, and of course, the White House as well. But right now in the Senate, they can't get the 60 votes needed to overcome a filibuster. This is mostly due to demands for health care funding. Right now, those hurting from the lack of a deal in Washington are the federal workers. Many could be furloughed. TSA and Border Patrol agents have to show up for work, but they won't get paid.
Especially congressional staffers that are already existing on low pay may have to rely more on their credit cards in order to keep themselves afloat until they get paid.
These workers will be given back pay once the shutdown finally ends. You know, essential services like Medicare, Medicaid, and the TSA will remain open, but many offices are scaling back.
Yeah, Fox 2's Hillary Golston is live speaking with the head of a federal local on the first day of this union, or the shutdown rather. And what does the union say about this? I mean, what are they experiencing?
Yeah, so obviously they're still in negotiations right now. In fact, we were going to have a live interview with that person, and he said, look, we are still working with the union trying to figure out what this is going to mean for TSA. He particularly is with the AFGE, which covers a lot of federal workers, but I had a chance to actually speak with someone above him, the national vice president for the AFGE. They cover HUD, they cover TSA, NOAA, these very important services. And he's essentially saying a lot of what we've already heard, that there are going to be some 1.6 million estimated workers who might be affected by this. We know that the immediate effect is about 900,000 workers, with an additional estimated 700,000 who could be furloughed. We also expect that 41% of health and human services workers might also see a furlough. So my big question was, well, what is this going to mean for the broader economy? Take a listen. 2018 and 2019, when there was a government shutdown, it cost the United States government $11 billion, according to them, and delayed $18 billion in spending. Can our economy at this time take another government shutdown?
Well, I'd say the big question is how long it lasts. You know, if we're going to have a long shutdown, then I'd say, yeah, it's going to really hurt the economy. You know, we're already dealing with a number of factors that seem to be indicating that the economy is in trouble, both in terms of hiring and in terms of inflation. Frankly, this could only make things worse.
Yeah, so in terms of inflation, of course, that's a very big metric that a lot of people will be looking at because it affects what you pay at the pump, affects what you buy at the grocery store, affects the clothes you buy. So the impact is certainly resounding. And remember also the effect this had on the GDP. In 2019, after the end of that shutdown, real GDP reduced in the next quarter, Q1, by 0.2%. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up to about $8 billion in a reduction in our real GDP. And obviously, because of tariffs, one of the things that has been touted about the direction we're heading in economically is this idea that we can grow ourselves into a more successful economy. So, of course, we're going to be watching this very, very closely. For now, we're live. I'm Hillary Goulston, Fox 2 News.
Well, sadly, Hillary, like anything else, and with the tariffs and with the inflation, it's the little guy, the small businesses that are going to suffer the most. Some of the larger businesses that are maybe more fluid with their cash, they're okay for now. But it's really going to be tough on the small businesses and people who depend on these funds.
I think that's relatively reasonable. I mean, I was looking at the economic data, trying to comb through what the effects could be. And as you saw there when I talked to Dr. Michael Greiner, who is both an attorney and really an economist, he explained that the effect, certainly for small businesses, and we have talked about this a number of times, could be profound. The question is how profound. And I don't know that we really understand that. A lot of this data is coming from the Congressional Budget Office. So some of it is looking retrospective. Who knows how long this government shutdown will last? And that is certainly the factor that will determine the economic data we see coming from this, Taryn.
Yeah, and really the average person, the data, they don't really care about that. They care about their pocketbook. So that's what really matters in the long run. Thanks, Hillary.
The final score doesn't really tell the whole story of how the Tigers lost to the Guardians in Game 2. We'll tell you what does when we see you next in sports.